How's it going, YouTube? And how's it going, you? So before we begin, I just wanted to apologize for the lack of content last week. I'm currently in the process of moving to New York City for my job, so I've been very busy with apartment hunting and all the details getting them down. But I'm going to try to give you as much content as I can over the next couple of weeks, starting with today's Murktide Monday, in which we are going to be playing a deck that looks a little like this one. So, explaining this deck list. In my mind, Blue Red Murktide has two different kinds of builds. There's the build that has a Ledger Shredder in it. Ledger Shredder can be 2, 3, 4 copies. Murktide can be 2, 3, 4 copies. Dragon's Rage Channeler can range from 0 to 4. It's really all over the place. And then, in my mind, there is this version of Murktide where you play 4, 4, 4. Super clean, super simple, nothing complicated. So, why would you want to play this version over the Ledger Shredder version? Well, I actually top aided the 5K back in December with, I think it was this exact 60 and a different 15 sideboard. But the reason why I wanted to play this for that event was one, it's a lot simpler. You don't have to think about Ledger Shredder triggers. And I mean, during that period, during that December, that day, I hadn't gotten much sleep the night previous, and I made the decision. Well, I'm gonna be running off of very little sleep, and I don't want to have to think about Ledger Shredder triggers, so I'm just gonna play this version. Way simpler. You don't have to think about what your opponent is doing like as much in terms of those triggers. Additionally, this version is a bit more consistent. Playing for Murktide is like a lot. It's a lot of Murktide. But when you're playing for Murktide, you're more often going to see Murktide. And if that's the case, then we want to play cards that are able to fuel the Murktide a little bit better, meaning the 4 Dragon's Rage Channeler, which I know is kind of the norm at the moment for Dragon's Rage, for ragavan, some number of Ledger Shredder, some number of Murktide. But by cutting the Ledger Shredders, the deck is a little less clunky. Ledger Shredder is actually quite a clunky card. It's a 2 mana sorcery speed spell that sometimes is kind of like a 3 mana spell in a regard of like, well, if you want to get a trigger on it and you don't have a Mishra's Ball, you want to play it on turn 3 so you can, it and play Lightning Bolt or it and play a Consider or something. But Ledger Shredder is quite clunky. It's 2 mana sorcery speed. Um, it's a 1/3. It doesn't block the best on its own, but as it gets bigger and bigger, it blocks better and better. So by cutting the Ledger Shredders, we're able to, in a way, speed up the deck. Jamming a Murktide is going to happen quite a lot during this league. I can kind of feel it. We're just going to play a Murktide as a 4/4, as a 5/5, as quickly as we possibly can. And while we're playing 4 DRCs, we're going to do that fairly consistently. So let's talk about the deck list starting from left to right. 18 lands. Because we are not playing Ledger Shredders, we do not really have to play 19 lands. I'm already a fan of 18 lands, even with Ledger Shredder builds, but I totally understand why you'd want to play 19 to make sure that you hit your land drops. In this version, you don't really need it as much. You are playing a pretty much majority 1-drops, and then you can kind of put Murktide in like the 2 mana slot if you want. This deck is a lot lower curve than the Ledger Shredder version because you're missing those 3 2-drops, 4 2-drops. 4 bauble, 4 Consider, that's pretty normal. I'm back on Spell Pierce, especially in this list where we're a bit more consistent. Indomitable Creativity is such a beating, such a brutal deck, such a big popular deck too, that I really think that Spell Pierce is pretty good right now. And the one Spell Snare is because, in my opinion, Spell Snare should just be a staple in every Murktide list. I think that Spell Snare is absolutely incredible. It's probably the best counterspell in the deck outside of counterspell. Just being able to trade up, being able to, on the draw, counter somebody's 2-drop and then be back ahead on the tempo is like absolutely incredible. 4 Dragon's Rage Channelers, which is kind of like the signature of this deck, 4/4/4. As consistent as possible, we want to play a 1-drop and then defend it or just try to run away with the game. For lightning bolt, for unholy heat, for ragavan, I would never touch these. I always want to be able to answer a turn ragavan with these 8 lightning bolt effects. I will never touch them. My personal opinion. Lightning bolt goes face. Unholy heat is probably the best removal spell in modern, besides leyline binding. So, 4 counterspell, 4 expressive, nothing too fancy there. The 4 murktide, which we are playing the 4 because we want to see them as consistently as possible. With the 4 Dragon's Rage Channeler, with the lower curve, we're able to fill the graveyard a little bit better than the Ledger Shredder version. And murktide is good in multiples. The 4th murktide, not so great. The 3rd murktide is fine. The 2nd murktide is usually pretty good. And the first one is obviously fantastic. And these are our flex slots. I know that spell snare is like the flex slot, but these are kind of like the real flex slots. So, Brazen Borrower, in my opinion, another staple for Murktide. I think that every Murktide list should be playing it. Otawara is really the only catch-all answer in the list, and Brazen Borrower is the second. And having it on a 3/1 flash flyer is really, really good. I have won many games with Brazen Borrower, bouncing a thing and or even just playing it for my hand as a 3/1 flyer on the end step. It's a real threat. It can really run away with some games. Force Negation. Now, this one's a little weird. The reason to play Force Negation in this list in particular is because of these bad boys. We have a lot of Murktides, and there are going to be some games that we see, maybe even all 4, and we're going to be like, what do we do with all these Murktides? Force Negation gives us a card that's able to get rid of some of these Murktides and turn them into live draws. Additionally, it being a cancel is really not that big of a deal. It's like, that is super castable, like an Archmage Charm. It exiling the card can be relevant sometimes, but it being able to pitch a Murktide is probably the most important reason, and the Force Negation hits a bunch of cards that we're not so happy to see. It being able to hit Wrenn in 6, it being able to hit Rhinos from the Temur Cascade deck, hitting Teferi, hitting who knows there's so many cards that Force of Negation hits. The other card that we could be playing is a Subtlety, but I think that Force of Negation is a little bit better. It hits more cards that I think that we care about right now, especially like Indomitable Creativity being really good. So, Force of Negation to pitch these Murktides, and I've always loved Force of Negation in the main, especially because we can play Ragavan on turn 1 and defend it with a Force of Negation. That's super powerful. That if we're able to do that in one of these games, we probably will win, but who knows, right? And then the Blood Moon. Blood Moon is a card that comes in and out. It's always been a main deck staple kind of for Murktide. Some people play 0, some people play 2. I like 1 because it is a win condition by itself. Against Tron, against Amulet, against Indomitable Creativity, there are going to be some matchups that we play a Blood Moon and the game ends. And I love free win cards. Blood Moon is probably one of the best, if not the best, free win card in Modern. And the fact that this deck can play it efficiently is awesome. Additionally, it's an enchantment, which is good for Delirium. Awesome. And there are even some matchups that like you wouldn't think it would be good against, except when we are playing for it and our opponent is not. For example, the Mirror, where our opponent is like fetching for Steam Vents and stuff, and we happen to get a couple basics and we jam a Blood Moon, and then they no longer have any blue mana. That's a really big deal. There are some matches that we're going to be able to win by just playing a Blood Moon, and they're not ready for it. So that's the 60. The sideboard. Flusterstorms and invasive surgeries. I'm playing these because it seems that Temur Cascade is on the uptick, as well as Indomitable Creativity is always really, really good. And I want some answers that are specifically for those matchups, but Flusterstorm is a bit more versatile, right? It's good against like Burn, it's good against other matchups, but it's pretty much for those decks. I would think about playing Orvar, but I have been seeing a lot of Temur Cascade, and I want some cards that are good against that deck. Subtlety is for, all the Cavern of Souls decks. It's kind of pretty normal on the board. Dress Down for all the Dress Down matchups, Hammer, etc. Fury, Brotherhood End, again, for small creature decks. I love Brotherhood's End. I think it's absolutely incredible. I think you'd definitely be trying out this card on the sideboard. Blood Moon for Blood Moon matchups, Tron, etc. Abrade for the Mirror to hit Unlicensed Hearst. all the little creature matchups, unlicensed hearse for the graveyard and for the mirror, and 3 engineer explosives, which is kind of becoming the norm now. I have been wanting to try out 3. I've only really run a couple leagues with 3, and it seemed pretty good. Unlicensed engineer explosives is quite a good card. I'm not sure if 3 is too many. 2 is definitely a really good number. 3 is kind of a lot, but I guess if you think that there's going to be a lot of indomitable creativity, you think there's going to be a lot of hammer, it is kind of a banger against those decks. So I'm willing to give it a go. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, please leave a like. Please subscribe. It would help me out a lot. We're almost at 300 subscribers, which is really, really cool. So I really appreciate that. And tell me in the comments what you want me to play in the future. I love doing viewer-submitted deck lists. And with all that being said, let's jump into a league. Alrighty, we are on the play in round number 1 against Mistaken, who is definitely a person I played against for sure. Ooh, interesting. So sadly, this is not a ragavan, but we will maybe get to see the power of force negation here. We're going to be able to play a turn 1 DRC with a bauble, get a trigger, maybe even get delirium on like as early as turn 2 if we end up playing consider like the force negation. This hand's really good though. We have removal, we have creatures, we have or creature, and we have some card selection. Our opponent has kept 7. Play the DRC, play the bauble, trigger. I'm definitely gonna bin that. It helps fuel the delirium, as well as we are kind of looking for a land. We already have the force negation in hand, but I'm wondering if we need to bauble now in order to find another blue spell to pitch for the force negation. Yeah, let's do that. We're looking for a land anyway. Valet cut. Okay, so that means that we are probably playing against Amulet, most likely. And I will definitely force negation a turn 1 Amulet if that's what their plan is. It seems like it's going to be Arboreal Grazer if they name Nymph. Oh my goodness. This is awesome. Murktide definitely going to the grave. And that's Delirium on turn 1. Wow. That's pretty awesome. So we really want to hit a land, but we don't need a land right now. So I'm just going to take a draw step. Holy moly. Okay. The lightning bolts are actually not too bad, but they had 2 amulets in their opening hand. Wow. Amulet players are very lucky. They are very lucky. So we're going to bolt them, definitely. I guess we got to bin it. It doesn't really do anything. We need lands. Okay. Yeah, so the counterspells are not really going to do anything because they're probably going to end up playing a bounce land and bouncing the cavern and naming giant. But we will be able to unholy heat the giant, so that is something. So they're definitely just playing the 2/4 here, yeah. I'm wondering if I should unholy heat the dryad. Like, is it worth it to unholy heat dryad right now? I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna bolt the face here. Consider can go to the grave. Okay, so there's our lambs. So what's kind of a shame is that this is turning on their Valakut, and we're gonna need 1 more turn. We need to live for 1 turn. And I don't know if we're actually going to be able to do that. So if they have any bounce land, which they probably have 1, they have 6 mana. They're able to tap for the 4 and then the 2, and they're able to play the giant. They search for Slayer Stronghold and the Boros lands. It's such a shame that, like, we kind of need to kill this Dryad, because if they play 2 lands, they're gonna be able to kill the Dragon's Rage Channeler, and then we can't do anything. But we probably just lose to... Okay, I'm gonna kill this, because, yeah, if they do play 2 lands, then we are going to not be able to win the game. And Dragon's Rage Channeler needs to win the game for us here. We need to cross the finish line. Oh, now we're very dead. They're passing? Oh, we win. I'm just going to pass. I'm not going to do anything. Is there any way that I lose here? I'm just going to do the bolt now. I don't mean to slow roll, but my opponent says LOL. I totally get why they would say LOL. Like, I totally understand, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't lose to something really silly. I guess I could have done it in their upkeep. Maybe that was kind of what I was supposed to do. But the purpose of me doing that was to make sure that I'm able to cross the finish line. They need to answer this Dragon's Rage Channeler, and if they don't, they lose to it. So I wanted to see if they could answer it first, and if they had the answer, which they kind of did, then I was going to fire off the bolt. So, oh, they conceded the match. Oh. GG's opponent. Off to the next one. Alrighty. Round number 2. Round number 1 was very quick. I guess we, like, tilted our opponent. But round number 2 against I Drank Your Milk. That's a great name. I love that. And we're going to play it, which is awesome. Oh my goodness. We have the turn 1 Ragavan with Force and Negation backup. Oh my god. I'm so excited. And our opponent has mulled a 6, and we have a lightning bolt in the opening hand. This hand is fantastic. Our opponent has mulled a 5. I don't know what they're playing. Like, I kind of want to fetch to thin the deck. Okay, let's like fetch to thin the deck and fuel murktides, like future murktides. They're definitely going to be like playing burn or something. But on the mull to 5, I don't really mind as much. It's also, I know it's a little silly to like deck thin, but when we're only playing 18 lands, it's a little bit better. Oh my god, are they going to go for a lightning bolt here? I will force a negation a lightning bolt. Green mana. Suspending search for tomorrow. So our opponent is playing like some sort of fair Valakut deck. Maybe like a classic Scapeshift deck. Interesting that we're playing against 2 Primeval Titan decks in a row, when I don't really think that Primeval Titan is like that popular. I'm gonna attack first before I do anything, just to see what card we get. We got an Arid Mesa, okay. So I'm going to play the polluted delta because if we draw expressive iteration, I want to be able to fetch for a basic. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I don't think I'm going to counter search for tomorrow. It doesn't come off suspend this turn, but the following turn. I don't think I'd want to counter it. I think that like our first negation has better targets. And this might be a scenario that I flash in the brazen borrower just as like a 3-1 to try to like beat down. It's like a Farseek. Sakura Tribuilder. That's actually like kind of annoying. Because I do think that they like would maybe trade. And like if I bolt it, they just like sack it. It's kind of annoying. And I can't brazen borrow it because if I try to petty theft it, they sack it, and then my brazen borrower just like goes to the grave. Wow, that is really annoying. Is this a situation that I'm supposed to flash in brazen borrower and then like lightning bolt their thing and then like attempts to like beat down? Or am I supposed to hold the brazen borrower for like a prime time? How many cards am I gonna be able to get into the grave, right? So let's say I fetch, right? That's two lands in the grave, and then the lightning bolt is a third card in the grave. And I then play a lands, I hit them, I go up to another treasure. So then I would have 3, 4, I would have just enough to play a murktide. And then the murktide would be a 4/4. And then I would hit them for, they'd be at 12 next turn. And I would have 9 power on board. That's pretty good. They're going to go up to 3 lands. They're going to go up to 4 lands. They're going to go up to 5 lands. They play lands. They need 7 lands to be able to scape shift for like anything that makes like any sense. Oh, I guess I'm not going to have this treasure in play, huh? I do think that I want to play this brazen borrower though. I do think that I want to try to like close this game like quickly before they're able to like really do something. So yeah, I am gonna play this brazen borrower as like a 3/1. We are not gonna be able to play the murktide though. That is something to note. If we find a fetch lands, consider. Interesting. Honestly, I might even be willing to trade the ragavan. I might actually be willing to trade the ragavan. Let's see if they'll do the trade. It trades up in mana. I've already gotten my mana value out of it, and it takes them off of being able to scape shift earlier. So I'm definitely down. Okay, they did not want to trade. And now we have the lightning bolt still, which is good for us. If we consider and we hit a fetch lands, bauble, grave, we hit. Wow, that's very lucky. Very, very lucky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Murktide, go. So, I mean, I know that they like were tapped out and we can't like Wars Negation now, but we do have a pretty sick board. We do have a pretty sick board. And that's not a good draw for us. All right, so we're going to go to damage, and then we're going to kill this dryad. Then play our land, and then cross our fingers, because I guess in theory we could still lose here. What are the odds that the last card in their hand is a prime time? Probably pretty high, right? Yeah. That's so lucky. So good. Oh, okay. So we're looking for a lightning bolt off the top then. Lightning bolt or unholy heat is unholy heat doesn't do it either. Hmm. Am I dead? Like dead dead? I think I am. Wow, I can't believe we lost on a to 5. Maybe we were like not supposed to play the brazen borrower, but like we got our opponent down to 6, so or down to 3. Just kind of unfortunate that their draw was like pretty consistent. We never saw the blood moon either. The blood moon would have been really good. They just drew a second primeval titan. That's pretty incredible. Okay, off to the next game. Wow, that was like a really good draw. I even if we had an answer for the even if we drew in holy heat, they just ripped another prime time just to seal the deal. It's pretty brutal. Okay, so against them, dress downs, subtlety for sure, blood moon for sure. We can bring in flusterstorms. It's like okay against their early ramp spells. Invasive surgery hits scape shift. They are playing scape shift. What's like not good against them? I actually don't know. I actually feel like this matchup should be pretty favored, but I guess the brazen borrower is. I guess spell snare is not good, right? And then spell pierce is probably not good either. And I definitely want the blood moon. And then I most definitely probably want the dress downs to some degree. I guess the subtlety we definitely want. Trying my cards that like we definitely want, and then cards that like maybe like are not so great. The lightning bolts are good because they can go face, but they don't really kill anything efficiently. Like they're only good in multiples. The unholy heats are like a little bit better. So like I guess I would cut those. Like I'd rather have dress downs, arguably, to turn off the prime times entering. I don't mind cutting a bolt for that. And then do I want the flusterstorms? I feel like murktide is actually like quite good because they probably won't be able to have a good answer for it. Maybe they'll have like the sacrifice target player sacrifice the flying creature like in the board. What's it? I forget the name of it. EE doesn't seem very good. Abrade does not seem good. It's kind of like, do I want the flusterstorms for like the early ramp spells? Search for Tomorrow coming off the stack on like turn, like they suspend it, and then they're gonna have 3 mana, so like flusterstorm doesn't even really counter it. Invasive surgery does though. So maybe like we cut the bolt for like an invasive surgery. We try this out because maybe they are playing like actual scape shift. I'm down to give this a go. Let's try it out. So our opening hand has a blood moon, but we have no basics. But we have a lot of ways to search, so I'm gonna keep it just because blood moon can be an absolute house. And I'm gonna play the bauble. We don't play ledger shredders. We don't play ledger shredders, so no reason for me to like wait. The only reason would be for a fetch lands, and we don't have any, and we kind of wanted to see one for the basics anyway, so good for us. I wonder if this is the hand that we jam expressive on turn 2. Probably not. It's just like I don't know when we're gonna necessarily play expressive. We're gonna need to lock down the game before like expressive gets good. So we're either jamming it or we're like waiting to get that lockdown. All right, so we consider. Let's see what we get. Otawara. I don't think we want otawara. That's not a bad draw depending on what they do. Expressive. See, I don't know what their deck plays, so I don't actually know if this invasive surgery is going to be good. Expressive iteration. What if I like fetched for like the basic here and then I considered? I'm kind of down with that because if we hit like a ragavan or like a Dragon's Rage Channeler, I'm going to want to play it. Basic. I mean, that is a basic lands. I kind of want it because I want to be able to play this Blood Moon. Yeah, I guess I'll keep it. It's kind of weird to like keep the land like that, but I don't know when we're going to see another basic, and I really want to be able to have two. Counterspell is definitely at a premium in this matchup because they don't play. They probably don't play Cavernous Souls, I assume. Kind of sad that I don't think this invasive surgery is actually going to be any good, but they might most likely go like Mountain Sakura Tribe Builder next turn. This turn. Forest Sakura Tribe Builder. Also annoying. Ooh, Search for Tomorrow. So invasive surgery might actually get a hit. I'm definitely just jamming the Blood Moon as early as I possibly can. And there's no reason for me to wait on the like for me to bauble myself because I'm just playing the Blood Moon this turn. And then I'm gonna bauble them. I wonder if they have Nature's Claim. Most definitely they have Beseiju somewhere. Oh, they can't Nature's Claim anymore. They'd have to wait, but they definitely have Beseiju in their 75. Dryad, huh? That's pretty good, actually. And very annoying. Stinks that we do not have Delirium yet for this invasive surgery, so we could like look at their deck. Sure. Not a bad draw. I think we are gonna play expressive here though. Well, I think we're taking counterspell. Yeah, I think we're taking counterspell here. I don't know if that's better than force negation. So we're gonna counter. We're gonna counter the Search for Tomorrow that's gonna come off the stack at the beginning of the upkeep. Yeah, I think it's counterspell. Bottom and then exile the Ragavan, and then we can play our land and just play the Ragavan. And now we have Delirium, and now we're gonna be able to look at their deck, which is really nice. I know that like it would be good to be able to like counter invasive surgery, but sure, you have a lightning bolt. Or I know it'd be better to like counter like escape shifts, like, you know, but I don't know what they have in their hand. I don't know what they have in their deck. I want to like make sure that our invasive surgery actually has a target. And the fact that we're able to counter anything right now is going to be really nice. They're searching for a basic now. Sure. All right, so Search for Tomorrow is now going to come on the stack. And then we're going to counter that. And then we're going to look at their hand and their deck. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to take a nice little screenshot of this. And okay, so They're not playing scape shifts. So we did get very, very lucky with this invasive surgery. As in, the only other cards that it could have hit was explore. So I guess it could have hit wish too. And we have no clue what they're playing in their wish sideboard. They only play one basic forest, and they have it in play. This turn, they are probably, depending on what they get, right? Like, if they hit a land, they're probably going to, like, Dryad, land, Sakura Tribuilder. And then it seems that they have 3 prime times in the main, so their 4th one is most definitely in the board. Okay, so let's not think too much. But it's really good that we have their list. They have 4 wishes, 3 Veil of Summers, 4 lightning bolts. Okay. We got super, super lucky with that. They only had 6 targets for invasive surgery. Let's like hope they guess they don't draw lands. Ren in 6 is the draw. That's basically a land. But it's a land that does not make green mana, so... So their hand is still the same. Interesting. Murktide. That's a big, big Murktide. Is it big enough that I want to just, like, jam? Is it a big enough Murktide that I want to, like, unholy heat the Ren in 6, and then just jam the Murktide, and then just, like, hope that that runs away with the game? I can dash Ragavan, hit them, see what we get, but it doesn't really look like we want anything from their deck, to be honest. I guess like a Ren in 6 would be fine, but even then, that's like not even that good. Yeah, okay. So I'm kind of down with that. I think that the Ren needs to come off the table, right? And we're not going to be able to remove it very easily. So let's unholy heat that. Let's play a Ragavan. And then let's play a Murktide. We could also just hold up counterspell. They're only going to be able to play 1 spell next turn. I'm kind of down to just play the Murktide, to be honest. Like, let's just get this boy out here. I'll make it an 8/8. We're gonna be able to hit Delirium pretty easily with like any instant in our deck, any sorcery. Sure. Oh, they did hit a land. That's really annoying. So they have another Dryad and another Wish. Or the same Wish. Alright, so now I'm just going to try to hit them 3 times. We're just going to hope that that does the job. I will most likely counter the Wish rather than counter what they get off the Wish. Also, no reason to not play the basic or the fetch land because we don't play Ledger Shredder. Yeah, I think I'm gonna counter the Wish rather than counter like what they get. Because if they get something like Run Afoul, I think that's the name of the card. If they get something that gets rid of Murktide, I want to be able to prevent that. They are jamming the Wish, and I'm just gonna jam Counterspell. And they probably just pass. Interesting that they didn't want to play Dryad. They do want to play Dryad. Now we don't know what's in their hands. Now we do know what's in their hand. Now they're just top decking. We draw a lightning bolt, the game is over. So expressive. There it is. Hands, bottom, and I'll leave. I'm gonna show him the bolt. All right, next game. So, invasive surgery is really, really bad, and we got incredibly lucky. But we do have a good screenshot of their deck. Veil of Summers, Explores, Renin 6s. I'll show you guys the list so you kind of like look at what I'm looking at. Yeah. So how good is like spell snare? How many hits do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, assuming at least 10 for Soccer Tribe Builder. So spell snare is like technically better than invasive surgery. I guess Fury hits the Dryad, right? And it also hits a Ren that they just play. It's like kind of whatever. Oh, wait. Invasive surgery hits Wish too. So 3 Explorers, 4 Wishes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they have 10 hits. It does counter Wish, which is actually kind of a big deal. That's kind of a big deal. That is kind of a big deal. It does kind of make me want to play the invasive surgery, interestingly enough. It's like, I think that it's better than flusterstorm, only because flusterstorm is like worse in the late game. Like flusterstorm makes them use all their mana, so it kind of buys a turn. But like, I think that I think that unless we're in a racing position, which might happen, we're gonna care more about like the spell actually like resolving. I kind of don't mind Fury though. I kind of don't mind Fury. What would I board out? Force of Negation is not really good, is it? It hits Wish. But it hits Wish in the same regard that Invasive Surgery hits Wish. Okay, I'm down to do this. Alrighty. Good luck, good luck. Our opening hand has 2 Ragavans and 2 Blood Moons. I'm gonna keep it. Our opponent has mulled to 5 again. However, they did destroy us with their first 5, so. Alright, they're gonna allow my turn 1 Ragavan to live for at least a turn. I am going to bauble them right now. Lightning Bolt, of course. I'm not gonna not cast Ragavan. I'm gonna make them like use the cards that they draw. That's not good for us. Oh, that's so brutal. Well, we are going to be able to kill the Ren, so that's pretty nice. That's pretty good too. Kind of sweet that they didn't get any value out of this Ren. Not sweet that they had the basic in there. Oh, they fetched for the basic. That was my fault. They're probably just going to pass, I assume, right? Yeah. Okay. That's pretty brutal. It's brutal that like I want to play Blood Moon, but like if we play that, then our 2 Murktides are essentially dead. So I'm just gonna play the Ragavan, and then hold up the counterspell, and then I'll counterspell like pretty much anything that they play besides this lightning bolt. Like if they just pass, then I think that we might go to like a pass game. It really depends. Like it's just weird that they would like have 3 mana and then they like wouldn't use it, you know? Like you think that they would play like the Dryad. Maybe I'm supposed to counter this. I'm kind of down. I'm down. Let's counter it. Screw it. Screw it. Let's do it. All right. I don't know if that was right, but I figure that like I figure that like that last turn was like super awkward for them, and they just like passed. They didn't play a Dryad. They're wishing. Just like hard casting a wish to get a lands. Okay. So now my ragavan is gonna just do some work, I assume. Explore. Do I want to play explore? No, I think I just want to hold up counterspell. I think I want these treasures. I'm definitely countering that. You have Veil of Summer. Alrighty. So we're gonna find out if this Blood Moon like actually does something. Arid Mesa. Okay, so we're gonna play Dragon's Rage Channeler and then play Blood Moon. I know that gets rid of one of our treasures, but I want the Delirium trigger. Bolts. I don't think that we want Bolt right now. Do we? Does Bolt speed up the clock? One, two, three, four, five, six. I don't think I want the Bolt. Unsure, though. I'd have to sit here and do the math, but I really don't want to do the math. We're just going to play the Blood Moon and see what happens. Let's go. Let's go. Wow. I'm actually kind of surprised that we won. I mean, I guess like I'm not since they mulled to 5, but wow. GG is off to the next one. Alrighty, round number 3. We are on the play again. Fantastic. Ooh, wow. Okay. So I'm gonna keep this hand because multiple Dragon's Rage Channelers are awesome. We draw any land, we are definitely in there. And even if we don't hit a land, hi, big fan, our opponent says. Thank you. Not sure if you're trolling. I assume they're trolling, but you know. Nice to see a fan. I'll take it. Oh, wait, they said, ain't you doing Merc Monday videos? Wow, that's so cool. I've never been recognized in a video before, or I've never been recognized on MTGO before. So they said they love my videos. I'm cheesing. It's so cute. Our opponent has baubled us, so I really hope we draw lands here. I could consider. I could consider. Nah. We did hit a land. Oh my goodness. I'm going to play the DRC because I want to jam this murktide as soon as possible. Like, I know I can hold up counterspell, but I think that it's better for me to just play these Dragon's Rage Channelers, consider on their end step, get a bunch of triggers, and then just jam a murktide. Because most likely, they might just, like, play a Ledger Shredder or, like, just, like, land go. And if that's the case, like, these Dragon's Rage Channelers are just going to, like, run away with the game. Oh, they missed on their lands. Wow. Okay. I think that the game is pretty much over now. Awkward. I want the land, but like, I guess I don't. I need to hit delirium. Yep. To the grave. Consider. Will consider A. Bolt to the grave. We draw a murktide. Okay. Well, we didn't hit delirium. But our opponent is missing land drops, and we are definitely going to be taking pretty big advantage of this. I think I'm just going to jam this murktide. I'm not going to waste any time. 2, 3, 4, 5. Our opponent is 4-0. Oh no. We're going to steal the trophy from them. Feels bad. So if our opponent has a fetch lands, ooh, they just missed and they just conceded. Alrighty, so the next game, we bring out the force negation, we bring out the blood moon, and I like to cut spell snares in the mirror. I just think that they're like, I think that in the mirror, we end up going to such a late game, like we end up getting pretty late, where we both have a lot of lands that the spell snare ends up being dead. So unlicensed hearse and abrade are definitely coming in. And I think that because I don't really want to cut anything else, I think that I would rather. So, like, I could cut Dragon's Rage Channelers. I think that they're a fine cut in the mirror, but we don't have a lot of cuts. I've been liking the subtlety. I think that subtlety is, like, better. I think it's good on the draw in particular. And I think that we can bring in flusterstorms. I'm not against it. I think it's better than spell pierce. So I'm down to, like, cut 1 for 1 at least. But I do kind of want to keep the Dragon's Rage Channelers in because we do have all these murktides. So let's run it like this, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so super weird opening hand. We have a bunch of lands. We have the subtlety to counter a 1-drop, but like we don't have anything else going for us. Oh, we have 3 lands. I misread. We have 3 lands. This hand is pretty good. It hits a turn 1 ragavan, which is like the best. What are we pitching to subtlety though? It's kind of like that this hand is like a 6-card hand. But it's not like a bad 6-card hand. If they play a 1-drop, then it's not great. But if they don't have a 1-drop, then we're probably in the clear. Our opponent has mulled a 5. I do feel bad because they are a fan of the channel. It's really weird to say that because I've never really met a fan of the channel before. All right. Now our subtlety is definitely looking better. Okay, so I am going to pitch something. Is it going to be consider? Is it going to be expressive iteration? Consider we can play the next turn. Expressive is better in the mirror. If they keep ragavan on top, I'm going to pitch the expressive. It's kind of a little awkward, but... Let's see what they do with it. They might put it on top. They put it on top. Okay. So... I guess like I'm happier that I pitched the expressive, but it's arguable. We really want a lightning bolt. I'm going to shock myself with the steam vents to make it seem like I have a lightning bolt so they don't feel incentivized to dash. Sure. Wow. The top 3 cards of my deck were lands? That's pretty brutal. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to win this game. I'm going to have to get this murktide out, and I'm going to have to pray that they hit nothing off their ragavan. But, wow, that's very unlucky. I'm playing 18 lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 12 cards. Hit nothing. Hit like a bolt or something. I guess that's not nothing, but... Oh my god. I'm just gonna hope they let me go to main phase. I don't really care about the graveyard right now. Main phase. Oh, they let me go to main phase. That was a mistake, opponent. Don't have mystical dispute. No. Oh, that's so brutal. Their 5-card hand was very, very good. I wonder if they like didn't activate because they wanted me to play the murktide. Sadly, like, sadly my hand is absolutely horrible. I definitely should have like activated my unlicensed first, but don't hit expressive iteration. They hit a land. Oh, thank God. Wow, there's a lot of lands in my deck. Yeah, I definitely should have activated my own unlicensed hearse on my turn. Because now they're going to unlicensed hearse their own things. I can, interestingly enough, otawara the unlicensed hearse into my own hand. But I just, wow, we are falling behind here. Jeez. Yeah, I am really falling behind. We've just seen so many lands. I don't even know if I'm supposed to otawara the ragavan. Like, I'm also kind of afraid of the unlicensed source too. I'm just gonna take it. Like, just hit nothing, please. Abrade. I don't even actually mind that. Sure. I can flusterstorm this. I don't really want to though. I'd rather hit like something that matters a little more, but I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. Like I feel like I have to. I put myself in a position where I have to bounce the unlicensed first. It's really brutal. All right, give me my unlicensed first back. Give me a bolt. Holy moly. We've looked at 18 cards, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Holy crap. I actually meant to activate my unlicensed because if they play a land here, they could just play a murktide. I can't do anything about it. Let's see what they attack with, and then I'll activate unlicensed first. Okay. So I'm going to exile these two. I take it. Oh my god. I'm going to concede. That was an absolute slaughter. I don't even know. Wow, that was really brutal. All right, flusterstorm is going to come out. I'm going to bring back the Dragon's Rage Channeler, and we're just going to submit like this. Hopefully we just have like a better opener this time. Let's see. That hand's great. I get to play a turn 1 Ragavan. I said, see, it wasn't so bad. My deck wanted to mess with me too. And they said, that looked really sad, bro. It was pretty sad. I hope that when this person, if they watch the video, that I hope they feel the same level of frustration that I was feeling Just like land after land. Ragavan, turn 1 for sure. Kind of awkward that like we can't play the basic on turn 2 because we want to play Unholy Heat, like, or hold up Unholy Heat, but okay, so that means that they have the removal spell. Otherwise, they would have baubled themselves. No! No! Dang it. I want to play this unfair game where Ragavan just runs away like you did the second game. You definitely should bauble me now, I assume. The bauble also tells me that they don't have a ledger treader because I think they would have held it. Okay, so we're going to Dragon's Rage Channeler, and then we're going to bauble. Trigger. I don't think we want that right now. I don't think we want that. And then we're going to bauble ourselves. It's another Dragon's Rage Channeler. I don't think we want that either. I think that we want like spells or like instants that sorcery is, or even like a murktide. But I am going to pass to make them look at my top card with it. Oh, wow. I wonder if I should draw it then. So there's two angles that we can go. We can try to keep them like pressured on the removal. I think I will keep it. It's better than the Ragavan because it's not as like easily killable. Like they can't just Unholy Heat this when this is on. They are bobbling themselves now. I wonder why they played the bauble on the first turn. I'm thinking that maybe they played it and they like realized that they didn't really want to. Okay, I'm definitely going to fetch shock and then consider. Good that they didn't have a ledger shredder on the second turn either. I know that this is like way more risky with like unlicensed turfs and stuff, but it doesn't seem that they'd had anything, so it's pretty good for me. Lands can go to the grave. Consider. I will keep that. That's a good card in the mirror. They're definitely holding up a counterspell. Murktide. Okay. Well, we have delirium, so hit you. And I'm gonna play a Dragon's Rage Channeler. And then I'm gonna pass. They're fetching. Okay. I wonder if they're gonna shock themselves. They might get a basic. Nope. Okay. Well, here are very similar life totals, but I do have a bit more of a developed board. I'm just gonna let this resolve, obviously, because I can't do anything about it, but you know. I wonder if I should have sat there for a second and made them think. I think that if I had it, that I would have just jammed it anyway. Ragavan exiled. Going to 11? Are you gonna play the Ragavan? That's really interesting. I will kill the Ragavan because we're going to be looking at an absurd amount of cards right now. What's really nice about this game is that we were able to play a really good tempo game. We were able to get a creature out that they weren't able to get rid of, and now we've been able to beat them down while answering what they're doing. We haven't really answered anything that they've done yet, but starting with this Ragavan, we're going to start answering what they're doing, and then we're going to start playing more things that they have to deal with. And the way that you end up winning the mirror, it can either go two ways. You either like, oh, they are just not, they're just, okay, that's fine too. I'm down with that. I am down with that. If we draw a land, we can expressive into murktide. Bolts. That's kind of interesting. Do I want to bolt them? I think I'm gonna expressive. Let's resolve an expressive. Maybe we hit a lands. I'll keep an untapped land on top. All right, let's bin that. Hand bottom exile. Play a land. Shock ourselves. Let's hit them for 3. And I think I'm just gonna play murktide as a. I think I'm gonna play murktide as something small. I can't make it. I can't get it to less than an unholy heat damage. So I'm just gonna play it as 3, 4. I think I'm just gonna play it as a 4/4 because I want the second one to boost the first one. And if they have unholy heat, it's just gonna die anyway. But this way, the second one is going to boost the first one. They can't unlicense Hearse me because it should boost the murktide. So they pretty much like have to figure out. They have to get an unholy heat to kill this murktide. That's pretty much what this comes down to. They have to answer my board, which is pretty difficult for them with the limited amount of mana that they have. They found a mishra's bauble. Okay. They're going to 7. That's a magic number. Maybe their own murktide. That's kind of what this looks like. Oh, no. So I'm thinking it's a brazen borrower. So I'm just going to go to combat then. Let me win for 5-0. They said, let me win for the 5-0, mercy. I'm sorry, man. I can't let you do that. Only because. Only because. Only because I need it for the thumbnail. I can't just give it up for a video. If I wasn't recording a video, I would concede to you. Honestly, I would probably concede to you. Like maybe we do like some sort of split or something. But because I'm recording a video, I want it for the thumbnail. GG's though. That was really awesome that we played against a fan. That's kind of crazy to say, but yeah, they played well. I really don't. They played well. They didn't make a lot of game actions, to be honest. I guess the second game they had more game actions, but the even with the second game with like the unlicensed Hearst, the timing, targeting their own things after I targeted them. I think the only like mistake that they may have made is with me allowing me to cast a murktide. But if that was intentional to get me to cast the murktide to play the mystical dispute on it, that's a big brain move. That's like actually like a big brain move. So I will give them benefit of the doubt to say that that's what they meant to do, and they were really, really smart. So GG's opponent. We are 3-0. Off to the next one. Alrighty, round number 4. We're on the draw. And our opening hand is... It's a little sus. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it because we have a bauble, which is essentially like an opt with these fetch lands. We have a removal spell for the first turn play. And then the expressive iteration is better like later. Like it will hopefully help filter us to cards that we actually want. This hand is like already like a 6-card hand, right? Like if you remove one of these cards, right? And you look at this hand, you're like, okay, it's a 6-card hand. Would you keep this 6-card hand? Probably. I probably would. We're on the draw too. Like if we were on the play, I'd probably mulligan because we have a really good turn one plays. We can ragavan, of course, right? Oh my goodness. Unholy heat. I'm gonna fetch. I don't know what our opponent is playing. We have an answer for like a turn one, like a turn two Dalthy Voidwalker or something, but okay, they're playing the mono black control deck, so we really want a fast hand if possible. Play the basic. If we get a blood moon, we're gonna want a blood moon on the second turn. I hate Urborg. I hate Yavimaya. They make me tap my mana. Weird. And they also make my snow-covered island look silly. Okay. Ragavan is not terrible. I think I am gonna jam this expressive iteration though. We're kind of sitting here. We have nothing else to do. We're probably gonna play the Ragavan anyway. 1, 2, 3. Jeez. Holy lands. Holy lands. When I kept 4, I was not expecting that we would see 3 more. Ragavan has lived. Interesting. So that looks like a Karn. Oh, they have the invoke. Okay. Brutal. Well, we're both sitting with a lot of cards in hands. There's the Blood Moon. Getting the basic. Go. Oh, they had a swamp. But the Blood Moon is looking really good right now. Really good. I'm definitely going to expressive here. We're just kind of sitting here doing nothing. All right. Counterspell to the hand. Bottom. Exile the 1-drop. Play the 1-drop. We've kind of navigated ourselves to not the worst position. I could like consider. I can't get force negation. I'm just gonna let it just resolves. If they play like Karn this turn, I will consider though an attempt to find a force negation. I guess I should have considered in response because I would have gotten the additional surveil. Okay, yeah, I would have gotten the additional surveil here. So that is something to think about. Guess we'll bin it. Oh my god. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Which one do you think they get? Maybe like Relic? Worm Coil. Well, we're going to be able to counter that one, luckily. End step. This is dying. This is not living. Oh my god. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 6 lands left in my deck out of 35 cards. It's pretty incredible, I must say. I kind of want them to play at Liliana specifically so I can get rid of these lands. Like if they plus, like we're like, holy crap. A reason why I don't like Spell Pierce and why I would rather it be Spell Snare or Minor Misstep is kind of, I mean, like obviously like we did not know that this is going to happen, but it's such a bad draw in the late game. It doesn't do anything. Wow, they just like draw a card. It's pretty good. Yep. I There are 5 lands left in my deck out of 33 cards. I'm not entirely sure what is happening. This is pretty unreal. And there's also like at least 2 on the bottom, right? I'm kind of blown away. I don't think we're going to win this game. I think that we just got like so insanely unlucky. I'm definitely counterspelling that. I mean, that's... I can't let that resolve. Another counterspell would be nice. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to play any more lands. There's no reason to anymore. We want to hold them for a Liliana. Jeez. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to counter it. Like, maybe I'm supposed to, like, let it resolve and then holy heat it, but... Alright, go. Oh my goodness. Well, maybe if they have another Archon, we might be able to, like, get the Spell Pierce to do something. Alright, Ragavan. You're never connecting. Like, there's not a single chance in the world that this connects. But... Yep. You tried. That's honestly, Ragavan, that's all I really needed you to do. I just needed you to try. How? How is this possible? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 4 lands left in my deck. Where are my 4 murktides, by the way? Where are those? And now they have the swamp for the invoked despairs. Oh my god. You cannot convince me. You cannot convince me that 19 lands is right. There is just no way. How is this possible? Holy crap. Well, I'm bringing the Blood Moon for sure. Flusterstorm is not bad early. It's not bad early. Invasive Surgery is good against the Invoked Despairs. This is actually like not a great matchup. Subtlety is definitely fine. Force Negation is definitely fine. Spell Snare is not so good. Spell Pierce, also not so good. Abrade is okay. It hits the thing that they get off of the Karn, but like Brazen Borrower kind of does like a very similar thing. Invasive Surgery hits Invoke Despair, and that's pretty much it. Fury hits the Karn. Dress Down prevents Archon from doing something for a certain amount of time. I'm not entirely sure what I'd want in here. I just hope that we draw spells. I'm gonna bring in a Flusterstorm. We're gonna see how that goes. I just hope that we draw spells. Holy crap. I'm gonna keep it, but you know what's gonna happen. I won't say nothing. I won't say nothing. Come on, Ragavan. Come on. I've never needed you to live more. Come on. Yes! Yes! They're going to take expressive, which is fine. Whatever. Ooh, interesting. Am I going to play the counterspell? Tarn. I think I am going to play the Dragon's Rage Channeler here instead of the counterspell. They play a lot of like sacrifice cards, so if they play a sacrifice card, they just like they suspend profane tutor. So I'm gonna lightning bolt them in my upkeep to see if I can hit a land here. Grave. We did hit a land. Awesome. Should I go for delirium? No, I'm not gonna do that. Exile a card from a graveyard. It draws a card. I'm not against it. Do I want that? I suppose that I'm gonna probably fetch anyway. I'm gonna keep it on top in case I don't fetch. It's probably better for me to put it into the grave, but if we don't... Oh, we draw it. We draw it. Never mind, never mind. We draw it. Awesome. This is kind of the way that we want these games to go against the black control deck. Like, we're just, like, completely out-tempoing them. I'm going to get this because we have double red cards in our hands. I know the Blood Moon is in our deck, but I don't think the Blood Moon is going to be relevant. That's kind of interesting. I guess I do kind of want that, huh? Sad that we have not hit Delirium yet. What we get? We got a Field of Ruin. So Profane Tutor is going to come off the stack. I don't think I'm going to counter it. I think I'm just going to let it resolve. Even if they get like a 1-mana removal spell, like... Damnation. Yeah, that definitely cannot resolve. It's kind of weird. Put it to the grave. We're going to hold up counterspell. Lightning bolt. Bauble. Blood Moon. Oh, if I had lightning bolted on my upkeep, we would have killed them. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. What is that black force? Force of despair. Force of despair. If it is not your turn, you may exile a black card from your hand rather than pay its cost. Destroy all creatures that entered the battlefield this turn. Okay, so I'm going to bolt them anyway, and we're going to pray that we just get Delirium. Nope. All right, go. Dang it, we would have had lethal. No, we wouldn't have lethal. They would have been at 1. Resolves. Now they would have been dead. All right, we won. All right, all right, all right. Did not matter. Did not matter. Okay. So for this game, how do we want to play this one? Spell Snare hits Night's Whisper. Spell Snare hits the sack card. Let's like, let me like look up mono black control modern. It plays 4 Shieldred's Edict, which is 2 mana. It plays 4 Night's Whisper. It plays 4 March of the Wretched Sorrow, which can be 2 mana. Maybe the flusterstorm is like a little better. 11 swamps too. It's kind of annoying. Maybe like we want like a flusterstorm over like an unholy heat. How many sorceries? 2 Blood Chief's Thirst, 2 Damnation, 4 Invoke Despair, 4 Night's Whisper, 4 Profane Tutor. So maybe the Invasive Surgery is actually pretty good too. And then we cut another Unholy Heat. Yeah, let's try that out. Alrighty, I'm going to keep. Hand is reasonable, and our opponent is mulled to 6. Hand is very reasonable. We can turn one Ragavan. We have a backup Ragavan. We have a bauble to see if we can like hopefully find a lands. They just land go. Probably going to kill my Ragavan, I assume, but I don't think I'm in a position to not play the, it's, you know, I'm going to play the Ragavan. Demolition Field. Just don't have it. Don't have it. No. Ooh, yes. I wanted to bauble because we do have force negation in the deck. I know that we could like play around like their limited whatever, but I wanna like if we had a force negation there, it would have been insane. Would have been insane. They don't play Liliana of the Veil anymore, do they? They do not. So I'm just gonna play the Ragavan. And then for the same reason, I'm gonna bauble them. Maybe we hit force negation. Shieldred's Edict. Okay. So Flusterstorm is looking pretty good, actually. Blood Moon, not bad, not bad. Or the polluted for the Blood Moon. What if they just pass? They do. Okay. And they probably do it in my upkeep. No. All right, we're gonna go to combat. I am definitely flusterstorming this. Let's see what we hit. Karn. We sadly cannot play Karn, though. So I can play Blood Moon. I think I am going to play Blood Moon here. We're able to play Blood Moon on a pretty empty board. Turn off their Cabal Coffers. It doesn't really mean anything right now, actually. Sure. But I'm still pretty happy with this setup right here. I'm just gonna pass. If they have a Karn, we can flash in subtlety. I think I'm pretty set up. Sure. Sure. I could like try to find the force negation or something, but it's not worth it. Let's get rid of a creature. I could have like considered in response to the Inquisition, but no reason to. They're out of cards. They are out of cards. That is good to know. Counterspell? How good is Counterspell right now? I guess it's pretty good. It's equivalent to a lot of other cards. Okay. What are the odds that I flash in this subtlety? It's kind of a shame they know about it, because subtlety is like way better when they don't. But I think I am just going to flash in this subtlety. Like, we need to start getting the pressure on while they have no cards. And I'm going to play this land. They don't really play Liliana the Veil anymore, and I would counter Lily if they played it. Is this going to be a repeat of the first game? I have a feeling that it is. We really need to draw some spells. Come on, spells. That's a spell. That is a spell. Do I want to play it, though? Not really. I think I want to just keep this plan going. I care more about holding up the counterspell. I'm going to bolt them. And then I will let them have their pick. They're going to take the counterspell, no doubt. They're passing. All right, hit you. I am gonna play this expressive. Maybe we just we don't find the bolts. Okay. So hand bottom exile. Play this. Let's look at what they're gonna draw before we do anything. They're drawing a land that does nothing. Fantastic for us. And then maybe we were supposed to expressive on the first, like in case we get a ragavan. But I guess I wouldn't have wanted to ragavan because then I want them to draw the land. So, but I guess we could hit a Dragon's Rage Channeler here, so it's worth it. Is that worth it, actually? I don't know if that's good. We don't have Delirium. Instant Artifact Sorcery. All right, we'll put it to the grave. Okay. Well, we're going to draw a card. Not a bad one. That is very unfortunate. But they did only draw one card. They did only draw one card. And we have lands on the bottom, so I'm not going to fetch. Bolt. Bolt. Let's go. Let's go. You have to have one card in your deck. Let's just play the murktide. Let's be smart. Let's be smart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Murktide. Beat my murktide. You have to have an answer for it first before we do anything. I will get a basic. So I guess I should have bolted because the 1 mana spell that draws a card, that exiles a card from the grave, it only gains life if it targets a land, and there wasn't a land before. Oh, they could have done it in response. But we won anyway. We are 4-0. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was so close. Off to the last one. Can we trophy? Alrighty. Last and final round. We are on the draw. And our opening hand is pretty good. We have a creature, we have removal, we have a cantrip. It's kind of everything that I want. Turn 1 Urza Saga. So this is like the charge counter deck, I think. Yeah, this is the charge counter deck for surezies. They're most likely not going to be able to make mana with this Urza Saga, but I guess I could be wrong. Oh no, I want it. Okay. Before I bin this, I'm gonna look up the list. Charge counter MTG Modern. So this is an aspiring spike list. Gotta love it. And their list is gonna look a little something like this. So how badly do I want Blood Moon? It's like okay against specifically Urza Saga. So it's kind of a question, are they going to be able to make a Urza Saga token? They go land power conduit, which is probably what's going to happen. Then they are going to be able to make 1 token. But there's not going to be anything that I can really do about it. It's only bad if they have multiple Urza Sagas, so I'm going to bin it for the sake of Delirium, and we're going to see where they're going to draw. Tendo Ice Bridge, okay. Yeah, I don't think that Blood Moon is particularly good against them. It's only good against Urza Saga. That's actually quite a good draw, because we're going to be playing a game in the air. So their goal is to make a lot of mana. That's kind of the purpose of their deck. So we're going to want to draw counter spells. Yep. That is not a counter spell. That is a creature, though. They are going to make a pretty big Urza Saga token. I still think that I want to just play Dragon's Rage Channeler and hold up Consider / Unholy Heat. I could play the Ragavan here, but like I want to be as mana efficient as possible, and Ragavan is pretty much only going to be a chump blocker. Against this deck, we're going to want to bring in all of our artifact hate. Sure. Oh, wow. Yeah. There's not really going to be anything that I can... I guess the Blood Moon would have been fine with... Because they're going to keep the Urza Saga around. I'm not really sure, though. Oh, no. I don't think we're going to be able to beat this. We need to find counterspell. Or we need to find Brazen Borrower now. Or Otawara. Bin. Bin. We have Delirium. Bin. Well, they're gonna get another way to... Jeez. All right, we're going to play the Dragon Tree Channeler, we're going to play the Bauble, and we're going to hope that we find a Brazen Borrower. Bin. 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 We pretty much need Brazen Borrower or we lose, right? I'm pretty sure. It's like we're going to draw. Oh, maybe I think I should have looked at what I'm going to draw. No, it wouldn't have mattered because we would have to pay mana in order to be able to surveil anyway. Yeah, we were not fast enough. Game 2 will definitely be better. Brutal. Okay, so I am going to make them do everything because it's going to eat up their clock. So if they're going to go for infinite turns right now, I'm just going to like F6 and I'm going to jump the video to sideboarding because I want them to eat their clock. All right. I could basically F6 now. I'll let them like do what they got to do. But they're just going to win through Urza Saga. I'm fairly positive. Maybe we should have kept the Blood Moon. If I played the Blood Moon, they would not have been able to get... I think they still win. They would have gotten the Surge node no matter what. All right, it actually did not take very long for our opponent to kill us. They like gave their thing unblockable and whatever. So next one. Okay, we definitely want all of our artifact hate. That's for sure. All this nonsense. Even like dress down is not terrible. It's not great. How good is spell snare? I guess it hits some stuff. Unholy heat does not seem very good. Right? Let's look at like what they would play. So it hits this. I don't know if this is like their exact list, so that's also something to keep in mind that it could be very different. Dress down actually does not seem very good either. Lightning bolt seems okay. Unholy heat just does not seem very good. I think that I just want to board them all out. Blood Moon seems fine as it only hits Urza Saga, but that's like pretty narrow. That's pretty narrow. This hits non-lands, so it's like it does do something. I guess we did want it that one game. Maybe we do want the Blood Moon. Maybe we do. I want the bolts because they go face, and we got to speed up the clock. Maybe we cut like a murktide. I'm down to cut one murktide. Keep the one Blood Moon for the Urza Sagas, because I think 2 is a little overkill. Flusterstorm does not seem very good. Fury does not seem very good. Subtlety does not seem very good. Let's just do it like this, and let's just like pray. All right, we're on the play. Our opening hand is like our opening hand's fine. It's just like we have better draws. We have better opening hands. Like we have Ragavan in our deck. It's like kind of weird to like want to throw away a hand like this because it is good. Like how control-y do we want to play? I'm not entirely sure. It would feel so weird to throw away a hand like this. Let's keep it. Let's see what happens. We have a lot of answers. We don't have an answer to a turn 1 Urza Saga though. But our deck really can't answer that anyway, besides the Blood Moon. Let me know in the comments if you keep the sands. Sure. I don't think I want to force negation that. I'm going to keep it on top because we're going to hold up counterspell anyway, and if we don't counterspell, then we're going to want to consider. Binning it is kind of the same as keeping it, but it requires us to use the mana. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Do I want to Ragavan and then like hold up force negation, or do I want to just hold up counterspell? I'm going to hold up counterspell. I didn't mean to shock. I meant to play the basic, but it is what it is. As long as we... Yeah, so... I'm definitely countering this. I passed my turn so that I could hold up a counterspell. Ragavan again. I'm just gonna cast the Ragavan. We can brazen borrower an Urza Saga token if they make one. Maybe like I should have brought in the dress downs. I'm not entirely sure what I would want instead. Their deck is very weird and kind of hard to play against. I guess a lightning bolt would not be a terrible draw. Then that's... That's definitely not the worst. I think I'm just supposed to jam this Blood Moon. Yeah, I'm going to jam Blood Moon. So now their Mycosynth Gardens don't do anything. Now we can set ourselves up to connect with Ragavan, and we have a Force Negation backup. So, like, they attempt to... Okay, I can't Force Negation that, sadly. Sure. Well, we do have the answer for this. Do I want to pitch Counterspell? I think I have to pitch Counterspell because I'm not going to be able to connect with my Ragavan anyway to make blue mana. Well, we drew a Counterspell. Good news. Bad news. Go. I really hope they just don't have like Karn. No, what did I just say? Opponent is really good. I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to win now. My treasure tokens don't make mana. Well, I need to hit Karn. Because I can't let them just like search for another card. And I'm basically stuck. I think they just win here. They don't have a win condition yet, so I guess that is something. Uh-huh. Come on, opponent. Come on. They pretty much like need to plus on their manifold key to untap, yeah. To make sure they can block the ragavan. If we draw a lightning bolt, we could be in a good shape. Engineered explosives. That's pretty good too. That is pretty good. We're gonna EE on 1. Sadly, it kills our ragavan. But there's really nothing we can do about that. Oh, it can't be activated. I am pretty sure we lose. Well, they have to plus Karn. Otherwise, I can use my treasure and my engineer explosives. Brotherhood's End would be a pretty good draw. Even then, I don't think that we still win. Yeah, I wonder if I should have just mulled the opening hand and just try to find like a turn 1 ragavan or something. I think so. I think that I should have. I wish that I could have mulled. I wish that, you know, like when you like, you know, when you lose or whatever, you like look at the top card or whatever to see what you would have drawn. I wish that I could see what my next mulligan would have been. So we draw lightning bolts. We draw brazen borrower. We can start to do something. Otawara. Does Otawara do it? No, not really. We want brazen borrower or yeah, we pretty much like just want brazen borrower. Brazen borrower, Brotherhood's Ends, consider expressive iteration, lightning bolts. They all do something. Do we lose? All right. GG's, opponent. GG's. The 4 and 1. Womp womp. So close to the trophy, too. Let's crack the treasure chests and then let's talk about the lists. I'm pretty sure this is all bad. God damn. Couldn't give me a singular endurance. Alright, well, GG's. The deck list. So. This deck felt really good. The main deck, Force Negation, felt awesome. Spell Snare did not look so good, but like it could have been good in certain matchup. Oh wait, no. The Spell Snare countered the removal spell, so it did actually look pretty good. The main deck, Blood Moon, felt really good. I kind of wish, I guess, I had a second Brotherhood's End for like specifically like that matchup that we played at the ends. Overall, though, this deck felt awesome. I would definitely play something very similar to it in the future. I think that you probably could cut a Spell Pierce for something else, like maybe second Spell Snare, maybe like Archmage Charm. Entirely up to you what you want to play there, but I think that this list feels really good. In my mind, when it comes to Blue-Red Murktide, again, like I said before, there's the Ledger Shredder builds that play a bunch of random numbers of Ledger Shredders and stuff, and then there's this version, which is 4/4/4 all the way across the board with a very, very limited amount of flex slots. Like, this deck pretty much has 4 flex slots in my mind. Like, if you're going to keep the Spell Pierces, which can be considered flex slots, but I think that they're pretty stock, quote unquote. This list is 4 flex slots that you can kind of do whatever you want with, and I really think that this version should be explored. I think that Ledger Shredder can be a very clunky card. I think that Dragon's Rage Channeler can be pretty undervalued. I think that we're cutting it all the time, which I totally get. It dies to Renin 6. It dies to a lot, but it does fuel those Murktide Regent hands. It's really good on the play. The same with the Ragavans. Like, you play a 1-drop, you protect it. If Dragon's Rage Channeler lives, you're gonna be fueling that graveyard a lot. So I think that this is a list that needs to be explored. Definitely recommend trying it out if you like Murktide, because, I love Ledger Shredder, don't get me wrong, but it's not always the best choice. It's a great choice, but not always the best. It really depends on what you think you're going to play against. This is way more consistent. You like consistency? I say give this a go. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. We're really close to hitting 300 subs, which is amazing. And you guys have just been showing me a lot of love. I really appreciate it. I thank you guys a lot. And as always, follow me on Twitter, TylerBMTG on Twitter. Twitch, Tyler_B. And I love you. Goodbye.